Elendria smoothed her shimmering, gossamer robes as she prepared to meet the human delegation. At 10,000 years old, the Aloran diplomat had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, the birth and death of stars. Yet today she felt an unfamiliar flutter of excitement. Humans. Such a quaint species. So short-lived, so enthusiastic. As the airlock cycled open, Elendria plastered on her most diplomatic smile. The humans filed in, their eyes wide with wonder at the crystalline architecture of the Aloran diplomatic vessel. Elendria's gaze swept over them, noting their varied shapes and colors, so unlike the uniform beauty of her own people. "Welcome," she said, her melodious voice carrying easily across the chamber. "I am Elendria, representative of the Aloran Consortium. We are honored to receive you." A stocky human male stepped forward, his calloused hand extended in what Elendria's cultural briefing had informed her was a greeting gesture. She delicately took his hand, marveling at how rough it felt. "Gus Little," the human said, his voice gruff but not unkind. "Lead engineer on the Terra Nova project. Thanks for having us, Ma. I am." Elendria blinked, surprised. This was their lead engineer. Where were his robes of office? Where was the gravitas that came with advanced age and wisdom? "Mr. Little," she said, recovering quickly. "Perhaps you could enlighten us on this Terra Nova project. We're most curious about your species' ambitions." Gus grinned, a surprisingly charming expression on his weathered face. "Sure thing. We're going to build a planet." Elendria waited for more, but Gus simply stood there, looking pleased with himself. She glanced at the other humans, wondering if this was some sort of jest. "I see," she said slowly. "And by build a planet, you mean?" "Exactly what I said," Gus replied. He pulled out a small device, and a holographic image of a planet appeared between them. "We're going to construct a habitable world from scratch. Customized gravity, atmosphere, climate zones, the works." Elendria felt a laugh bubbling up inside her but suppressed it. These humans were so adorably ambitious. "Mr. Little, perhaps you don't understand the complexities involved in planetary formation. It's a process that takes millions of years, shaped by cosmic forces beyond." "With all due respect, Mom," Gus interrupted, his eyes twinkling. "We understand just fine. We've run the simulations, done the math. We've got the tech. All we need now is a place to do it." Elendria's smile became a touch patronizing. "And where, might I ask, did you acquire such advanced technology? Our records indicate your species has only achieved interstellar travel within the last century." Gus shrugged. "We built it. Look, I've been working shipyards since I was 16. No fancy degrees, just hands-on experience. You'd be amazed what you can figure out when you're elbow deep in engine grease every day." The other human delegates nodded in agreement, and Elendria felt a flicker of uncertainty. Surely they couldn't be serious? Building planets like children's toys? "We appreciate your enthusiasm," Elendria said carefully, "but perhaps we should discuss more realistic proposals for cultural exchange." Gus's expression hardened slightly. "Ma'am, we didn't come all this way for cultural exchange. We came to request permission to use the uninhabited moon in your third planetary ring as a proving ground. We'll show you what we can do." Elendria considered for a moment. The moon in question was a lifeless rock, useless to the Alorans. Granting permission would be a simple diplomatic courtesy, and when the humans inevitably failed, it would teach them a valuable lesson in humility. "Very well, Mr. Little," she said, her tone gentle. "The Aloran Consortium grants you permission to use the moon for your experiment. We look forward to observing your progress." As the humans celebrated, Elendria watched them with a mixture of amusement and pity. In her 10 millennia of life, she had seen countless young species reach for the stars, only to learn the harsh lessons of cosmic reality. Still, she mused, their enthusiasm was infectious. Perhaps, in their own small way, these humans would leave their mark on the galaxy before burning out like the brief candles they were. Little did Elendria know, as she gazed at the jubilant Gus Little and his team, that she was witnessing the beginning of a revolution that would reshape the very foundations of galactic civilization. The humans were about to teach the ancient Alorans a lesson in the power of determination, ingenuity, and good old-fashioned elbow grease. 50 years had passed in the blink of an eye for Alindria. As her diplomatic vessel approached the once barren moon in the Aloran's third planetary ring, she found herself rehearsing condolences. Surely the humans' ambitious project had failed, and she would need to soften the blow to their fragile egos. Approaching Terra Nova, her pilot announced, initiating atmospheric entry procedures. Alindria blinked in surprise. Atmospheric entry? That's impossible. This moon never had an atmo. Her words died in her throat as they broke through the cloud cover. Below them stretched a vibrant landscape of rolling hills, shimmering lakes, and lush forests. In the distance, she could make out the gleaming spires of a city. By the cosmic elders, she whispered, her composure slipping for the first time in centuries. As they landed on a pristine landing pad, Alindria saw a familiar figure waiting to greet them. It took her a moment to recognize him. His hair had gone gray. Lines etched his face, but the twinkle in his eyes was unmistakable. "Welcome back to Terra Nova," Mom Gus Little said, grinning widely. "How do you like what we've done with the place?" Alindria stepped out, her senses overwhelmed. The air was crisp and clean, filled with the scent of alien flora. Gravity felt perfect, despite her knowledge that this moon should have had a fraction of its current pull. "This is impossible," she managed, her usual eloquence deserting her. Gus chuckled. "Funny thing about impossible. Turns out it just means no one's figured out how to do it yet." He gestured expansively. "Come on, let me give you the tour." As they walked, Gus explained their process. Terraforming machines that could compress millennia of geological processes into months. Atmospheric generators that created breathable air from the moon's latent elements. Gravity modulators that could adjust the planet's pull to any desired level. But the ecosystems, Alindria protested weakly. The biodiversity. It takes millions of years to evolve. "Who said anything about evolving?" Gus interrupted. "We designed them. Every plant, every animal, custom made for this environment." He pointed to a strange, six-legged creature grazing nearby. "That fella there, we call it a hexahorse. Great for transport in rough terrain." Alindria's mind reeled. The implications were staggering. If humans could do this to a barren moon in mere decades, what else were they capable of? As they approached the city, Gus's expression grew serious. "Thing is, Terra Nova here was just our proof of concept. A test run, you might say." "A test run?" Alindria echoed faintly. Gus nodded. "Yep. You see that?" He pointed to a massive construction project visible on the horizon. "That's the framework for our first fully artificial planet. We call it Nova Terra. It's going to be about twice the size of Earth, our homeworld." Alindria stared at the colossal structure taking shape in the sky. It defied comprehension. These humans, these short-lived, inexperienced beings, were building worlds as if they were assembling toys. "Mr. Little," she said slowly, "I believe I owe you an apology. I greatly underestimated your species' capabilities." Gus waved it off good-naturedly. "No offense taken, Ma. We're used to being underestimated. Makes it all the more fun when we get to surprise folks." As they continued the tour, Alindria's diplomatic mind kicked into overdrive. The balance of power in the galaxy was about to shift dramatically. These humans, with their ability to create habitable worlds at will, were poised to become a major force in galactic politics and economics. "Tell me, Mr. Little," she said carefully, "what does your species intend to do with this technology? Surely you don't need this many new worlds for colonization." Gus's eyes lit up. "Oh, we've got plans, Ma. Big plans. Imagine water worlds for marine research, low-gravity planets for space industry, pleasure planets for galactic tourism. Heck, we're even talking about building sanctuary planets for endangered species from across the galaxy." Alindria felt a strange mixture of awe and trepidation. In her 10,000 years, she had never encountered a species that thought on such a grand scale, that dared to reshape the very stars to suit their vision. As they stood on a cliff overlooking a vast, man-made ocean, Gus turned to her with a serious expression. Mom, we didn't just invite you here to show off. We'd like to propose a partnership. Your people have knowledge accumulated over millennia. Combined with our engineering skills, imagine what we could achieve together. Elindria gazed out at the impossible world these humans had created from nothing. In that moment, she realized that the galaxy was about to enter a new age. An age where the very definition of what was possible was being rewritten by a species she had, just decades ago, considered cute and harmless. Mr. Little, she said, a smile slowly spreading across her ageless face, I believe this is the beginning of a most interesting collaboration. As the twin suns of Terra Nova set on the horizon, Elindria knew she was witnessing the dawn of a new era in galactic history. And for the first time in millennia, she felt a thrill of excitement for what the future might hold. A century had passed since Elindria's visit to Terra Nova, a mere heartbeat in her millennia-long life. Yet in that fleeting moment, the galaxy had transformed beyond recognition. Elindria stood on the observation deck of the Aloran diplomatic cruiser, gazing out at Nova Terra, humanity's first fully artificial planet. It hung in space like a jewel, its continents artfully designed, its oceans glimmering with perfect bioluminescent patterns. It was, quite simply, the most beautiful world Elindria had ever seen. Quite a sight, isn't it? A familiar voice said behind her. Elindria turned to see Gus Little. The man was ancient by human standards, his face a web of wrinkles, his back stooped with age. Yet his eyes still held that irrepressible twinkle. Gus, Elindria said warmly, I didn't expect to see you here. Surely you've retired by now. Gus chuckled. Retire? Nah, too much to do, too many worlds to build. Besides, the nanotech treatments keep me spry enough. Elindria nodded, marveling again at human resilience. In the past century, they had not only mastered planetary engineering but had made significant strides in life extension. Gus, at well over 150 years old, was a testament to that progress. I must congratulate you and your species, Gus, Elindria said. Nova Terra is beyond anything I imagined possible. Oh, this Gus waved dismissively at the stunning planet before them. This was just the start. Wait till you see what else we've been up to. Over the next few hours, Gus showed Elindria holographic projections of humanity's latest projects. There was Aquarius, a water world with underwater cities and unparalleled facilities for marine research. Olympus, a low-gravity planet that served as the galaxy's premier shipyard and space industry hub. Eden, a pleasure world with every climate and environment imaginable, fast becoming the most popular tourist destination in 3 sectors. But here's the one I'm most proud of, Gus said, pulling up a final projection. We call it Sanctuary. The hologram showed a planet with multiple distinct biomes, each teeming with life. Is that? A Crixian sun beetle, Elindria gasped, recognizing an insectoid creature she hadn't seen in millennia. I thought they went extinct when their homeworld star went nova. Gus nodded, beaming with pride. It did. But we had enough genetic data to recreate them. Sanctuary is home to thousands of species that have gone extinct or are on the brink. We're recreating lost ecosystems, giving second chances to worlds that were destroyed or died naturally. Elindria felt a wave of emotion wash over her. In all her years, she had witnessed countless species and worlds fade away, powerless to stop the march of cosmic time. And here were these humans, these brief, brilliant beings, literally bringing the dead back to life. Gus, she said softly, do you realize what you've done? You've changed. Everything. The very nature of life and death in our galaxy. Gus nodded, his expression serious for once. We know. Believe me, we've had a lot of debates about the ethics of it all. But in the end, we figured if we have the power to preserve life, to restore what was lost, well, don't we have a responsibility to do it? As Elindria pondered this, an alert chimed. A holographic screen appeared, showing a news broadcast. The headline made Elindria's breath catch. Human-made planets now outnumber natural worlds in Orion Arm. Ah, Gus said, a hint of nervousness in his voice. Meant to warn you about that. It's causing quite a stir in some circles. Elindria could only imagine. The political and economic implications were staggering. Humanity, in the span of a few centuries, had become the dominant force in shaping the very geography of the galaxy. "Gus," she said, turning to her old friend, "I have to ask, what's next? Where does this end?" Gus's eyes twinkled with that familiar mix of mischief and ambition. "End? Elindria, we're just getting started. We're looking at stellar engineering next. Imagine rejuvenating dying stars, creating stable binary systems for double the habitable zones. Hell, there's even talk of trying our hand at building artificial galaxies someday." Elindria felt a dizzying mix of awe, excitement, and just a touch of fear. The humans she had once thought of as quaint and harmless had become the architects of cosmic destiny. They were reshaping the universe itself to suit their vision. As she gazed out at Nova Terra, Elindria realized that she was witnessing more than just a technological revolution. This was the dawn of a new era in the history of life itself. An era where the very concepts of natural and artificial, of the possible and impossible, were being redefined. And at the heart of it all were the humans, those short-lived, endlessly innovative beings who refused to accept any limitations on their dreams. "Well," Gus, Elindria said, a smile spreading across her ageless face, "it seems the universe is in for quite a ride. I, for one, can't wait to see what you'll dream up next." Gus grinned, clapping her on the shoulder. "Stick around, Elindria. We're just warming up." As they stood there, watching ships from 100 worlds dock at Nova Terra's orbital stations, Elindria knew she was witnessing the unfolding of a cosmic dream, one that would reshape the destiny of every species in the galaxy. And it all started with a rough-handed shipyard worker who dared to imagine building worlds. 3 centuries after her first encounter with humans, Elindria found herself aboard a transport unlike anything she had ever seen. The vessel was approaching a structure so vast it defied comprehension, a Dyson sphere called Cosmos, entirely constructed by human hands. Beside her sat Gus Little, now over 350 years old. Thanks to continuous advancements in human biotechnology, he appeared no older than when she had last seen him, his eyes still twinkling with that indomitable human spirit. "Welcome to the future," Elindria, Gus said, grinning as the Dyson sphere filled their view. "Or should I say, welcome home?" Elindria raised an eyebrow. "Home?" "Yep," Gus nodded. "This galactic summit isn't just a meeting. It's a housewarming party. Cosmos is going to be the new seat of the United Galactic Council, a neutral ground for all species, built by humanity as a gift to the galaxy." As they docked, Elindria was struck by the sheer diversity of the beings disembarking around them. Species that had once been mortal enemies now conversed amicably, united by the awe of human achievement. The interior of Cosmos was a marvel. Entire ecosystems thrived within its vast confines, gravity and climate shifting seamlessly from one sector to another. It was as if someone had taken the best parts of 1,000 worlds and woven them into a single, harmonious whole. As they made their way to the central chamber for the summit, Gus filled her in on recent developments. Humanity had not been idle these past centuries. They had moved beyond merely building planets to reshaping entire star systems. They spoke of stellar rejuvenation and galactic engineering as casually as they once discussed terraforming. The summit began with a speech from the human representative, a woman whose eyes held the same fire Elindria had first seen in Gus centuries ago. "Esteemed delegates," she began, "we stand at the dawn of a new era. An era where the boundaries between the possible and impossible have been erased. Today we unveil our most ambitious project yet." The chamber darkened, and a holographic display sprang to life, showing a galaxy but not one Elindria recognized. "This," the representative continued, "is Genesis, an artificial galaxy custom designed to support life in every star system. A sanctuary not just for endangered species, but for entire civilizations whose worlds face destruction." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of shocked exclamations and excited chatter. Elindria turned to Gus, her eyes wide. "Is this real? Can you actually create an entire galaxy?" Gus shrugged, a gesture so casual it belied the monumental nature of what he was describing. "It'll take a few million years to fully form. But yeah, we've got the tech. We've run the simulations. It's happening." As the summit progressed, Elindria's mind reeled. Humanity wasn't just participating in the galaxy's future, they were actively shaping it, dreaming on a scale that made even her ancient perspective seem limited. During a break, she found herself in a quiet observatory, staring out at the stars. Gus joined her, his presence a comforting constant in this rapidly changing cosmos. "Penny, for your thoughts," he asked, using an idiom she had learned centuries ago. Elendria was quiet for a moment before responding. "I'm trying to reconcile the humans I met 3 centuries ago, beings I thought of as quaint and short-lived, with what you've become. Gus, your species has reshaped the very fabric of the universe in less time than it takes my people to decide on a new planetary governor." Gus chuckled. "Well, when you've only got a century or so to live, barring medical advancements, you learn to make every moment count." "But that's just it," Elendria said, turning to face him. "You've overcome even that limitation. You've extended your lifespans, cheated death itself. You've become, well, almost godlike in your power." Gus's expression turned serious. "Maybe, but we're still human, Elendria. We still laugh, love, dream, and sometimes fail. All we've really done is expand the scope of what's possible. The rest is just good old-fashioned hard work and a refusal to accept impossible as an answer." As they stood there, watching ships from 1,000 worlds navigate around cosmos, Elendria finally understood. Humanity's true strength wasn't in their technology or even their ingenuity. It was their unique combination of brevity and ambition, their ability to dream big and then work tirelessly to make those dreams reality. "You know," she said softly, "when we first met, I thought humans were cute, harmless. I was so wrong, wasn't I?" Gus grinned. "Oh, I don't know. I like to think we're still pretty cute." Elendria laughed, a sound of pure joy she hadn't made in millennia. "Indeed you are, my friend. Indeed you are." As they turned to rejoin the summit, Elendria felt a renewed sense of excitement for the future. In all her long years, she had never witnessed a force quite like humanity. They had taken a galaxy of ancient, set in their ways civilizations, and injected it with a shot of pure possibility. The age of stagnation was over. The era of human-led cosmic architecture had begun. And Elendria, ancient as she was, felt like a newborn, eager to see what wonders this brave new universe would bring. For in the end, humanity's greatest creation wasn't the planets they built or even the galaxies they dreamed of forging. It was hope for a future limited only by the scope of one's imagination. And if there was one thing humans had in abundance, it was imagination. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope you loved it. Please remember to subscribe if you did like it so you can see more videos like this. And please give us a like and a comment too. I'll see you in the next one.